Welcome back to Shire Travels. This is part 2 of our Grampians adventure. After a healthy dose of chocolate pancakes, we decided to hit up the playground. It rained heavily overnight and we were very grateful to have the kids' puddle suits with us. It's safe to say they took full advantage of being in their waterproof gear, seeking out the biggest and muddiest puddles. Our first stop for the day was to Silverband Falls, and this is only 5 minutes from Halls Gap Lakeside Tourist Park where we were staying. An easy 800-metre walk from the car park along a flat track. I think the track had recently been redone. As you can see here, the trees are quite badly burnt. That was from the bushfire that occurred around a year ago. And a fair bit of work has gone into trying to restore the walking tracks. The track's flat enough that you could probably take a pram if you needed to. We just did it with our backpack carrier and it was easy enough. The falls at the end were really nice. We hung around and took a few pictures. There was another family there with young kids who got down into the water and did some playing. It would certainly be a really nice place to cool off on a hot day. While the falls were falling pretty heavily, the water down below was very shallow. It's quite kid friendly if they did want to hop in and have a bit of a paddle. Just to note, if you're coming from the direction that we did, from the south, you can get into that car park there both ways. However, if you're coming from the north, it is a one-way road. It is very windy and narrow. So keep that in mind that for the most part, Silverband Road is one way. We decided to head up to the northern section of the Grampians for lunch and the afternoon. And there's a few four-wheel drive tracks that run parallel to Mount Zero Road, so we decided to pull off the main road and have a bit of a look. Nothing too difficult, but compared to the other four-wheel drive tracks we had done the day before, this one had a little bit more technical driving and it was a bit more washed out. Now originally we had planned to go to Beehive Falls, however when we got there we thought the walk was probably just going to be a bit too long for the kids. It would be about 3 or 4 Ks, and we thought having done the Pinnacle walk the day before it would just be too much. The car park there at Beehive Falls is just off the main road as well. There weren't really picnic benches or anywhere to have some lunch. So we hopped onto Hema Maps and we just found a random picnic bench sign that was labelled as Golton Gorge, and we decided to drive down and see what that was and if it would be a suitable spot for lunch. After lunch, we decided to do the Gorge walk. It was only 330 metres one way, which we thought would be achievable. Now, we couldn't find any information really about this online. All the research that I had done, Golden Gorge hadn't come up, and we were really pleasantly surprised when we got to the end and what we found. I'd say this walk is definitely family friendly. There are a few sections where you have to walk up rock steps, and at the very end there's a tiny bit of rock scrambling, but our 4-year-old managed it no problem. And what we found at the end of the walk was just stunning. A beautiful natural infinity pool looking over the Grampians. It had real Northern Territory vibes. There were also a pair of falcons living in the gorge who made their presence known when we got there, and then after a while realised we weren't any harm to them and they quietened down. The infinity pool here though was just stunning. Now, we were there in spring, it was full of tadpoles and looking a little bit stagnant. If you were there in summer after a really heavy downpour, you could probably hop in the water if you were keen and just sit there and enjoy the amazing outlook. The pool at the top there isn't very deep, but you could get creative. If you're just looking for somewhere to lie down and cool off, that would be an amazing spot. Now, the edge of the pool has quite a wide area of rock, and then it slopes down, just in case you're thinking we're letting our kids hang out on a cliff edge. Just to note though, the water that was flowing down the gorge into the pool, those areas were incredibly slippy, so just watch out for that. We were also joined by this small lizard who was nice and fat. I assume it sits by the water edge and eats tadpoles every now and then. We had a great time hanging out here, just taking heaps of pictures and enjoying the view. Granted, this place probably wouldn't be as special if the water wasn't there, if it was completely dry, but if you're in the Grampians just after a rain, it's one worth heading to. We decided to take a few different four-wheel drive tracks back to Hall's Gap. The first one we did was Coppermine Track, which was relatively short. I wouldn't say it was only a couple of kilometers, but it went to quite a high elevation and gave some really nice views. Now, before we got onto Coppermine Track, I consulted our roads guide and it said that it was rough on the eastern side. We didn't find that it was too rough at all. And so when we hopped onto Chinaman's Track and it said it was four-wheel drive track, no other notes, we really didn't think much of it. We certainly didn't think to air down or anything like that. And boy, were we in for a bit of a surprise. From the second we turned onto the tracks, we had to put it in low range to try and get over a steep rocky section. The track then became very rocky, and because it had rained so much the night before, it wasn't so much wet, it was more really sticky mud. And this made things quite interesting as some areas of the track got quite slippery. This footage here is just a good reminder to always keep a safe distance when you're down filming the car. As you can see, the back end just started sliding here, coming further and further out. If you're getting down low to get that shot, remember to squat down, not kneel down. It'll give you that extra couple of seconds just to jump out of the way if needed. And this is where we really became stuck. Now, this was towards the end of the track, and as we approached this hill, we could see lots of chunks of sticky mud where other people had obviously gone through it. We gave it a couple of goes trying to get up. We were trying to push over to the left-hand side of the track, but it was so sloped and sticky that we kept sliding over and ended up getting stuck in a bit of a rut on the right-hand side. We decided not to air down. We thought even if we did, the mud was just so thick and sticky that it would just get wrapped around the tyres and it wouldn't really make any difference. It wouldn't give us any extra grip. As there were plenty of trees to winch off, we just decided we'd get up part way and then winch the rest of the way. Now, while Tom was winching here, I was trying with one hand to tell him to straighten up the wheels. He thought that with the winch to the side, we'd just be able to pop up out of that bit of a rut that we were stuck in. What he couldn't see that I could was that the tyre was just digging into the ground there, and there was no way that it was going to be able to pull itself up out of that rut because it was quite stuck. This would have been a good time to have a handheld radio so that we could better communicate exactly what was going on. Now, while we did get up and out and we thought, yep, all good, no issues, where the tyre was digging into the mud like that, mud had ended up getting stuck between the rim and the tyre, which meant that, unknown to us until the next day, air was leaking from the front, right and rear tyres. Back at camp, the weather was looking great. We let the kids have a bit of a swim in the heated pool, and then we got a fire going. Halls Gap Lakeside Tourist Park is one of the few areas in the Grampians where you are allowed to have a fire. In saying that, they do have a few rules that you do need to follow in order for them to, I guess, keep their license or allowance to be able to do that. We chose to hire a fire pit for our stay, which was $10. Now, you can bring your own wood, however, it does need to be pre-cut, pre-split. You're not allowed to use splitters or axes in the campground just to maintain the serenity, or you can buy wood from the campsite. Now, you aren't allowed to have huge fires. You have to make sure that you've got a bucket of water close by, and the fires have to be fully extinguished by 11 o'clock at night, and they come around on a little golf cart just to remind you. The kids love the chance to toast some marshmallows. Our 4-year-old is quite experienced at this. Our toddler, on the other hand, thought the aim of the game was just to set fire to the marshmallows, and why use a stick when you can just pick up a handful of marshmallows and throw them into the fire? Cut out the middleman. Up early the next morning, it was time to pack everything up and head back to Melbourne. We try to clean and pack away as much as we can beforehand so that when we get home, we only have to pop the roof and roll out the awning just to make sure it dries. We haven't got anything else to clean up. We thoroughly enjoyed our stay at Halls Gap Lakeside Tourist Park. We highly recommend it, and it's somewhere where we would definitely come back to. We went and had one last look at all the kangaroos and then hit the road. Using up almost every minute of our 10 a.m. checkout time, we always think we're going to pack up quickly, and then 3 hours later, we're just hitting the road. It absolutely poured with rain on the way back, which was not ideal as we needed to change our tyre at the service station as it had got pretty flat. And it was at this point that we realised just how much mud had got stuck into the tyre and how much air was coming out. Now, these tyres were on the car when we bought it a couple of years ago. They've been fantastic. We haven't had any other issues with them. They only needed to last one more trip before being replaced, but they didn't quite make it. The front right tyre though did last till we got home, and this was about 5 minutes after we pulled into the driveway. It was completely flat. We've decided to replace them with a set of Vulcan Wild Peak all-terrains, which should do the job. And that's a wrap on our weekend in the Grampians. It's such a special spot. If you're wondering if it's worth visiting after the fires, yes it is. There's only a few things that remain shut. Most other things they've managed to restore and reopen. There's plenty of places that we didn't get the chance to see, lots of other walks, waterfalls, and beautiful spots for sunrise and sunset. If you've liked this one, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe to join us on our adventures next year, where we head to places like Kangaroo Island and Tasmania.